right.
You're gonna have to cut this first like 5 seconds because I have to close my door. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Or keep it. Or keep it. Or keep it. I don't care. It might be funny. It might be funny. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Close the door in a very funny manner.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of the Javae plus Scott podcast, named by Scott.
That was hilarious. Love the way you closed that
It
door.
was perfect. It was yeah. You see it? You see it? Scott, how are you today?
I'm all right. I ended up staying work like 30 minutes later than usual, but
Wow.
other than that, a dude came in to buy a couple things, and he came in like 10 minutes before we closed, and then he spent about 40 minutes talking.
Oh.
But it was, he was cool. Anyway, how are you feeling?
I got the COVID shot, and I feel like shit.
This is Johnson & Johnson, right?
Yep, J&J.
J&J.
And let me tell you, this is the worst. Well, no, this isn't the worst feeling ever. I was about to get so dramatic just now. No. I feel like shit. I feel fatigued. I might not go to work tomorrow. I kind of just want to lay in bed and watch movies. So we can start the podcast off with movie suggestions from Scott because he always has the best movie suggestions.
All right. Okay.
Don't give me another climax though. I love the climax, but like.
So you want a normal movie?
Yes. Well, it don't have to be normal. Just not climax. Just nothing like in that vein.
Nothing fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to be sad and feeling like fatigued and like nauseous and like all of that shit because.
What streaming services do you have?
I have Netflix supplied by you, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, and that's it. I haven't hopped into Hulu.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. On this.
Okay.
In the meantime, let's talk about how Taika Waititi is.
I knew this was coming. Tell him why he's killing the game, Scott.
Now, all of this is just rumors, right? Like, we obviously don't know the story. But it looks like him, Rita Ora, and Tessa Thompson are just swinging it.
He's swinging it, obviously. He's swinging it into both of them. Based on, is it hard for you to imagine a guy like Taika Waititi pulling something off like that? Because it's hard for me.
No, it's
he a
sort of
goofy
like a funny
looking
weird.
dude. You think so?
Yeah.
Elaborate, because when I first saw it, I'm like, of all people, I would not expect him to pull Rita Ora and Tessa Thompson at the same time. That's outlandish to me.
You see, both of them is outlandish, but here's where I'll give like credence to him here. Like, he's not just weird and he's not just funny. Like, he has like a very specific set of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And at least from my experience of like watching his projects, he has a very like childlike sensibility. And I feel like he's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you're gonna be in that situation with like two, you have to be fun.
Yeah.
You can't be like reading books all day.
Yeah. I dig that.
Rita, turn the page for
me. Yo, when I first saw that, oh my God, like I was upset. I felt as though I felt as though I was doing something wrong in life. Seeing that.
You're like, why not me?
What am I doing wrong? What are we doing wrong as niggas? I mean, as people. I'm a nigga. Yeah. Yo,
I
you're a
don't
white.
think I can answer that question.
Honestly, to be completely honest with you, like outside of jokes, I have nothing much to say about that. I hope it's true. Honestly, I hope it's true. I hope he's swinging it both ways with them, and more power to him.
Fair enough. Okay, so I have two suggestions for you,
Okay.
both on Amazon.
Okay.
Have you seen Lost in Translation?
Who's in it?
Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson.
No.
Okay, it's beautifully shot.
Okay.
It's one of those like almost like an every frame of painting type.
Didn't that came out a long
Like
time ago, right?
2003
2003.
maybe.
Okay.
But
I'll watch
yeah,
anything with Scarlett Johansson in it.
I think she's like 17 in this movie, so I would hold off on.
Oh. Yo, I take that back. I take that back.
But she does give a really good performance in this, and so does Bill Murray. And they're like both in like Tokyo, I believe, and it's like they don't know each other, but they meet each other, and they're at different points in life.
Mm-hmm.
Other one I would recommend. This one's a little more weird, but it's still a movie.
As long as it's not climax. Like I really enjoy climax, but
you don't need that in your life right now.
Yeah, no.
This is sort of like a mystery, like a drama mystery.
Okay.
It's called Under the Silver Lake.
Never even heard of this one. Heard of Lost in Translation, never even heard of this.
This has Andrew Garfield in it.
Okay. That's a good actor. That's a good lead.
Yeah.
He's the leading man, right? I assume.
And the synopsis is Sam, a disenchanted young man, finds a mysterious woman swimming in his apartment pool one night. The next morning, she disappears. He sets across LA to find her, and he uncovers this conspiracy far more bizarre than he was originally.
Oh, my favorite word, conspiracy. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Under the Silver Lake.
I can dig that. Yeah, I'll check those out. You brought up Andrew Garfield. $1 million question. Who is your favorite Spider-Man?
I'm gonna get so much hate for this.
The cartoon Spider-Man counts. The 90s cartoon Spider-Man counts.
I still have to go with the live action.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm gonna get so much fucking hate for. All right, here we go. I don't like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I never did.
Okay.
He looks 30.
He was 30, wasn't he? How old was he? He was 30.
Like gray hairs in high school. It's like there's a scene where like Mary Jane slips and he like grabs her. He's like, dude. That was just cheesy.
Okay.
Tom Holland has the best Spider-Man movies.
Okay. Oh, I know where you're going with this.
But
Go ahead.
I kind of like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I don't like his Peter Parker, but I like his Spider-Man.
Okay, because those are two very different things.
Okay.
Tobey Maguire was indeed 30, but I loved his Peter Parker because Tobey Maguire is a dork. Tobey Maguire is like a fucking dork. The only person.
Have you heard about his gambling?
I don't.
Okay, finish what you're saying, and then I'm gonna blow your mind.
Okay, just looking at his face and the way his face is structured, it's.
He has the face of a dork.
He has the face of a dork. His smile, what he looks like when he gets angry, I can't take him seriously. Like, it makes sense that someone like that would wear a mask as a superhero that would cover his whole face because he's not intimidating. And I think that is in the spirit of Peter Parker. Peter Parker is not an intimidating dude, and he isn't supposed to be. Hence, I think Tobey Maguire was an amazing Peter Parker. Not the best all around, right? But I
Mhm.
do think he was an amazing Peter Parker, even at 30 years old. Now, Andrew Garfield was way too cool for me. The
Yeah.
nigga looked like Max Payne. He looked Andrew Garfield looks like Max Payne. And I did love his Spider-Man though. I did not like his Peter Parker. So I agree with you on the Spider-Man front, right? Um to me, Tom Holland is the total package.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Tom Holland is the total package. Lex Luger. I think I can't wait to see what else they end up doing with him. If they're gonna push him in as more as like a lead in the MCU, even though I'm getting kind of burnt out on the MCU shit, I'm gonna watch it for completion purposes. I really feel as though they're gonna do some amazing things with that kid because dude is fire.
All right. All right. Can I tell you a story that I kind of half remember? So I'm like also kind of reading it just to make sure I get some of the points right.
Okay.
But this might blow your mind.
Okay.
Girl named Molly Bloom, if I'm not mistaken. She ran a like under the table like high stakes poker game.
Her name is Molly Bloom.
Yes.
It is so hard for me to imagine a chick named Molly Bloom running an under the table high stakes poker game, but continue.
So she did. She wrote a book about it. Also, Aaron Sorkin made a movie.
Okay.
And some of the people that went to those poker games were a couple actors.
Okay.
And in the movie, they put one of them in, and they named him Player X because he is an asshole. Like, one dude comes in, he bets his entire life savings and loses everything. And so he just like fronts the guy the money so he can keep playing and losing because he likes to win.
Wow.
And like at one point, this is in the movie. I don't know if it's how accurate it is, but like he like calls her and he's like, "Without me, your game is fucked. Like you're fucked." And that's based on Tobey Maguire.
Get the fuck out of here.
In the movie, do you want to know who plays him?
Who? Please.
Take two guesses. Take one first.
Okay. Wait, let me ask this. When did the movie come out?
2017.
It's not Tom Holland, is it?
No, much weirder. It's a choice that once you hear it, you'll probably go, I might watch that.
You said much weirder?
It's a much weirder choice.
A much weirder choice. I'm blanking.
Michael Cera.
Yo, on God, I was thinking Michael Cera in my head, but I didn't want to say it. Yo. I was thinking when you said much weirder than Tom Holland, I was like, it can only be Michael Cera.
It was Michael Cera, yeah.
I might watch this. Why didn't you suggest this film? This is what I want.
It's not on a streaming service. I think you can only rent it right now.
But I can rent it off Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And it's called what?
Molly's Game.
Molly's Game. I feel like I heard of that.
It was pretty big the year it came out.
Okay. I feel like I heard it.
Wow. Maguire played by Michael Cera.
I'm digging that. I might have to watch that because I feel like that is going to be her. I love seeing Michael Cera play an asshole.
Yeah, me too. Like I've gotten over his like, oh my god, how are you doing? Like type of cadence, and how I love it whenever he's just like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, because he does not look like he should be talking like that at all.
Yeah.
He does not look like he should be talking like that at all. I love that. I'm going to watch that. I might watch that before the other shit that you suggested. I'm going to watch it.
Fair enough.
What else you got? Because I have something I want to talk about. I've been talking with everybody about this lately, and I have a hard take on it too.
One thing I want to talk about is
Okay.
Kevin Spacey has a new movie he's working on in Italy.
That is not. Yo, what is it with like? So there's like this big conspiracy, and I'm not sure if it's Italy or France, or if I'm what I'm thinking about. It might be Greece. It might be Italy or Greece. That like one of the two of those countries are like havens for like pedophiles. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
Yo, look into it. It's really weird. Um, and I for the life of me, I can't remember whether it's Italy or Greece. Uh, I don't want to say that their laws allow for pedophilia, but they don't extradite pedophiles or something like that. It's really fucking weird, G.
That is true.
Yeah, yeah. I want to, and I'm going to come back to this once I have um some solid references on it because I
Okay.
seen it like a few times. I don't want to come back to it with solid references to like and even talk about whether or not it's real or fake. But it's Italy or Greece, dude, and they they're harboring people who touch kids, supposedly, allegedly.
Well, Kevin Spacey will be there.
Yeah.
Um, but it really upset me
Hmm.
because I thought back to Mel Gibson, right? Do you remember
Hmm.
like 2006 when he started like getting all anti-Semitic
Yeah.
and Hollywood was like, "We're done with you. Get out of
Yeah.
here." And then he
Hmm.
left for like 10 years and
Hmm.
then was like, "I'll just start making movies again." And everyone was like, "Okay,
Dude,
you're fine."
that's how it always is. Like,
Like it took him 10 years. Kevin Spacey, it took him like what, 4?
yeah.
In every single like Christmas, he makes a weird ass YouTube video.
When you showed me those, I'd seen the first one he made where he was his character from House of Cards.
Yeah,
Is he that character in all of them? I'm trying to
I
remember.
I don't know, but it was just the second one was weird because he was like, "You think people could silence me?" And it was like, "You're on YouTube. You get demonetized. Shut up."
um, do you think there's as fucked up as it is, do you think there's merit to what he said?
What do you
He's
mean? What do you mean?
you said he said that you like, oh, you people think you can silence me, and then 4 years later he just pops up in Italy somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, no, no. Because first of
do you
all,
do you do you do you, do you think that like maybe he was confident enough in the fact that he had he had connections and pull in other places where like this wouldn't like it's still stuck to him, right? It's on his legacy,
no,
but you
no,
still
no,
hear from
no.
him.
Because first of all, I don't think he's working on some giant production. Right? It's probably like a small, relatively independent movie, and they probably needed a lead, and he was their best shot.
Okay, I can see that,
Like,
but think you don't think even that is like he shouldn't even be getting that,
he shouldn't.
right? He should at like he shouldn't be getting anything. I think the fact that he got that is a testament to what it is he was saying.
No, no, no. Okay, because let's switch professions for a minute. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Um.
Mind you, I think like I wish Kevin Spacey was dead. I want to put that out there. I
Yes.
wish Kevin Spacey was dead. I'm not I like this isn't a like support for Kevin Spacey. I just like to
The
look
fourth
at things.
episode took a really sharp turn.
But I wish all pedophiles were dead. I don't care. But
Okay.
um
I, I I think it's easy to look at it because the movie industry is kind of elevated,
uh
but if someone Walmart, if someone worked at Walmart and they did something fucking horrific there,
right.
and they were like, "You will never work in a Walmart again,"
Hmm.
and so they went to fucking like Czechoslovakia and worked at a Walmart there. I don't think that shows that like Walmart as a whole embraces him or that like he was right. I just think that he went to a market that would have accepted him.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
But all the same, doesn't that speak to like what some people are willing to accept? Right? Like this isn't even talking about like Kevin Spacey, for example, right? Like you mentioned, like, and I think you're right that like these people probably needed a lead, and so okay, they're like, hey, Kevin Spacey's desperate, right? But he's still a pedophile. That still gives him exposure, right?
mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, I think it speaks more to, I don't want to say people's desperation. I'm trying to find the word for it. Um, people are too willing to look the other way for me. And whether it's here or Italy or anywhere else, right?
If
Like,
it benefits them,
yeah,
okay.
people are too willing to look the other way, and then in a way that's giving him too much power in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he probably feels validated in thinking that they can't get rid of me. Does that make sense?
Who's they? Define they.
What do you, in what sense?
You say
They
they can't get rid of it because Hollywood has gotten rid
okay.
of it. Going out west.
I think someone like him has to have like a god complex or some shit. So when I say they,
Just means
right?
everyone.
Yeah, like y'all motherfuckers can't get rid of me.
But didn't Louis C.K. do something similar? Like he took a few years off and then he made like his next special, like in a different country or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Something like that. I heard about that. I just think it's disgusting that it's so hard to get rid of these people like for good anywhere. Like he shouldn't be popping up anywhere.
Anywhere.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my issue. I don't care if he popped up in Russia. He should not be popping up.
Oh, dude, I just think a big reason why I'm upset about it is like we've seen what he does with his platform or what he did with his platform,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird that they would rather add on to that or piggyback off of it
Mm-hmm.
instead of give somebody else a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe someone who hasn't had that shot yet.
Because that's harder.
It's harder to know.
Giving Yeah, it's like giving somebody entirely new and fresh and without a nasty background. That's hard because that doesn't draw attention, right? Um maybe the fact that it is Kevin Spacey and the fact that he is a disgusting human being, right? All publicity is good publicity, as they say. People are gonna watch that shit because people like to watch people, even if they don't like them. People like to watch people. They like to keep their eyes on the things that they hate the most.
Yeah.
And I think the people who hired him for this project knew that it's gonna get more eyes on the project just because it's Kevin Spacey, whether he pedophile or no. It's wrong, but
It's what happens.
yeah, yeah, they knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, like I'm sure they weren't sitting there like, wait a minute, they're upset.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. And the same way I just explained that just now is what I'm saying. Kevin Spacey knows that. Kevin Spacey knows that.
So he's like, do you think he's like? This is kind of a dumb question because I feel like we know the answer. He's just kind of embraced being a villain at this point.
Yeah. Look at what he does every Christmas.
Yeah, like
He Kevin Spacey wouldn't have made it as far as he did if he was a stupid fucking like if he was like a stupid individual. He wouldn't have made it as far as he did. That's what I think. That's what I think.
what was it that you wanted to bring up?
This isn't related to film at all. This is something I've been talking about with a few people, and I have a hot take. This is a life thing. I feel like the life portion is probably like the littest portion of our channel, to be honest. Oh, or of this show. I think within the next 10 to 20 years, marriage is going to be an archaic concept.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree? And I'll tell you.
I disagree because people have been saying that since at least the 60s.
Okay.
And while it's diminished, it's still there. And I have my own theory to why marriage is so popular. Marriage is popular to two groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
Poor people and people who live in small towns.
Okay.
Poor people because the idea of losing half your shit doesn't mean much. Because you're just like, no, like I trust that I'll be with them forever.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that we build, like they're looking to build, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then people in small towns, because there's not that many other options.
Mm-hmm.
So like they look at someone, they're like, hey, do you want to move in? We should move in, right? Like we should probably, look, I'll move my stuff to the side. You come and don't go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for those two reasons alone, it will be around for at least another 100 years.
Okay. When you say that, I could see it maybe being a thing in smaller communities. Smaller communities that perhaps aren't as jacked in or connected as maybe like the community that I'm in or even that you are.
Yeah.
I look at things. I develop takes like these by looking at people, right? Like the people I'm around on a daily basis, the people that I talk to, and the people that I interact with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at like the values that like a lot of people have, people put self over tradition all the time. The vows in at least a Christian marriage is, I don't know the vows in like, you know, the marriages in other religions, but I'm sure it's pretty much the same. Is that when you agree to marry this person, you agree to marry this person regardless of how bad shit gets, right?
Yeah.
No matter what. You made a vow, a lot of the time at least. You made this vow in front of your family. And I know a lot of people don't even believe in God these days, but to me at least it's still important before God. You could even say you made this vow before the universe itself. It's in the vows, right? People don't take vows and oaths seriously anymore. You could argue that nobody ever took it seriously, like since marriage's inception, right? But now more than ever, the minute the going gets rough, people get going.
And I agree with you, but now I want to respond with sort of like maybe a pessimistic view of society. Just because they know it's a bad decision, I don't think that's going to stop them from making it. Because people like to believe they're the exception.
Yeah, they have a view of the world that places them in the role of protagonist. That they're different from every other character running around when that's not the case.
Yeah, and what happens is you'll see, like, you'll get into a relationship and it starts to get bad. and you'll look at it and you'll be like, oh, this is starting to get bad. But because you think that you are the exception, and by extension, that like your partner is also part of the exception. You're like, oh, okay, well,
them, so they must
you're
be
like,
special.
this is part of it. Like, those other people are stupid. They should have broken up a long time ago. But we can work this out. And so I feel like as long as humans make mistakes, they will continue to get married, which I do believe is a mistake.
No, absolutely. Like these days, in my mind at least, I used to want to get married. These days, to me, the things that people hold dear, the things that people value, aren't. They're not important when it comes to a marriage, right? Like, how often, when people get married now, do they look at someone outside of their looks or sexual pleasure? How often do they look at the real character of a person? How often do they evaluate from top to bottom who this person is at their core? Or at the very least what they know about that person, because you never truly know anyone all the way, right?
Yeah.
I feel like people don't take accurate assessments of that, and so they go into this thing that's pretty fucking serious. Like, right, like marriage is, we want marriage to be happy, but marriage isn't a happy thing.
No, it's a relationship with bars around it saying don't leave.
Yeah. That shit is hard. When you agree to that shit for that. Like, if I get married, I'm getting married once. I don't believe in divorce.
Me too.
I made I don't believe in divorce. I believe if I say those words, I'm supposed to mean those words.
But no, here I disagree.
Especially if I'm saying it. Well, I'm gonna let you finish. Especially if I'm saying it in front of my family, right? And if I'm saying it before God or whatever, whoever, right? That to me is a serious thing. You can
and it is a serious thing. But now here's kind of where I kind of have to hold your feet to the fire a little bit.
Okay.
Let's say 10 years later, you realize, in no uncertain terms, that you were wrong. That this was not the relationship you wanted for the rest of your life. Now, you believed in the marriage, but now you're questioning it. So now you have to look at the divorce. And it's easy to be like, no, well, if I get married, I'm going to get married once. Well, what if that's a shitty marriage? At that point, you're so blind to your decision making that you are foregoing your own happiness. That being said, you shouldn't get married 6 times. Like,
right? No, absolutely not.
But no. I believe in divorce much more than I believe in marriage.
And mind you, which is fair. Like, I'm not saying like people who get divorced are fucking assholes or anything like that. I'm saying
you're just talking about your own.
Yeah. I think that people look at the concept of marriage as something that it isn't, and so they go into it thinking that, okay, this can't be that hard, right? And then they see what it is. And they realize that all the shit that they were talking about, how they wanted to be married and so forth and so on, is they weren't built for that.
It's because, in my opinion, I think that they see it as like the next step. So they're like, oh, we've been dating for a while. The next step is to get married. And then once they get married and that high wears off, all of a sudden they're like, well, this wasn't a step. We're still
right
where we were. We're still the same people.
Right.
Except now, like, we did our big event. What's in front of us? You're like, okay, well, we'll have a kid. And then you have a kid. And then you're like, I'm still the same fucking person except now I'm in control of a tiny me.
Right.
And then it's that until you die.
Yeah. And I think for that reason, like, I don't know, and you said this yourself, I look at things for what they are, right? I know, like, I know what marriage is because I've seen like both the highs and lows of marriage. Like my grandparents have been married for 58 years, right? 58 fucking years. They clearly knew what that shit was.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They knew what that was. My parents were divorced twice, right? They didn't, clearly, because I think when they said to me, when you say the words, your personal feelings no longer apply. It's the same as when a police officer takes the oath to protect and to serve, right? We hold them accountable for the oath that they take. And if they don't do it, right, that's then we look at them a different way. And which honestly, in my opinion, there's no police officer that actually does that. So I look at them all a different way, but that's neither here nor there. But at least that's how I look at it. If I make a promise to you, I'm keeping that promise. No matter, like if I say, Scott, I'm gonna come over there tomorrow and I'm gonna help you move, right? I promise, because you really need this.
Yes.
I'm coming.
Cool. You said 12, right?
Huh?
You said 12, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of, and this is where I get a little anti-marriage here.
Mm-hmm.
People love to say that being married is a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a decision you make every single day. And at a certain point, you have to take a look and say, am I making the right decision every day?
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't just for marriage, like even for relationships. If there's a point where you're like, I don't think I'm making the right decision, go.
Right.
Because like the seed of doubt is already in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing it's going to do is grow.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
I feel like that's wrong though. I do understand that it feels wrong with me saying it, but it's what I do.
No, there's merit to what you're saying, absolutely, right? But then also, you're not saying that you believe in marriage. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're not one of those people saying, I believe that, like I believe in marriage for what it is. You're saying you don't, and you have your reasons for it. Mm-hmm. There are people right now who believe that they're willing to be with somebody forever, regardless of anything. And when things get rough, they get going. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there are people who've been married and divorced and still think that they're marriage material, right? Like
it wasn't me. It was the other person that was.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, it's you know, people never take a look at themselves and ask, where did I go wrong? What's wrong with me that this didn't work out?
Because that's a harder conversation. And it's much easier to just chop it up and say like, oh, well, I was just anxious.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like your take, and I also respect the fact that you're saying, like, beforehand, like you don't believe in marriage, because that's your stance.
Yeah.
But there are people out here right now that think they're marriage material, and they don't bring anything to a marriage because they're fucking selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's me. Like, are you kidding? If I got married again, I would be self-absorbed. I would be selfish. I would like I love staying to myself.
Right. And also like that, like, it's not just you. Most people are like that now. Like at least in Western society, right?
Yeah.
Most people are self-absorbed people. They care about what happens to them. They'll pay lip service about what happens to other people, but that's it. That's why none of these movements have any teeth to them. They have teeth on the internet, not in real life. Clearly,
It's a
Kevin Spacey.
completely different thing.
Yeah, clearly, the proof is in the pudding. Kevin Spacey's in Italy on a working on a project right now, or
Mel
maybe like a
Gibson's
project.
still making movies.
Yeah, none of these things have any teeth because people. You know why the civil rights movement was so successful? Because people were willing to die for that shit.
Oh my God. I have an opinion about this.
Go
About
ahead.
the civil rights movement. I don't think it's the opinion it sounds like it's going to be because I just heard it how I said it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I
Go ahead. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. I'll let you know.
I don't. Okay, let me know. Because I kind of have two. First of all, I think there's a conspiracy behind it.
Okay.
I think that they put all of the pictures from the civil rights movement in black and white, so that way we dissociate from it and say that it's something from the past.
Oh no, that's a known fact. Yeah,
okay.
That's a fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I think the people who reference the civil rights movement the most is white conservatives, because they'll look at people, they'll look at like the rallies that are happening like now, and they'll just be like, well, they're just violent. Like, why can't they be peaceful? Like Martin Luther King, and I'll be like, well, he was shot. It didn't work out too well for him.
You're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you thought I was going to say?
No.
All right.
No, that is not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say something similar to what I think about the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was effective because they knew how to hit the establishment's pockets, right? Unlike people right now, they'll go to a rally, but can't commit to this. I got to go to work the next day, right? Back then, people were not only willing to die for this shit, but they also knew how to hit people's pockets. They boycotted things. They were in control of their dollars, right? People in charge of these movements were smarter, and that's why a lot of them ended up getting whacked. They ended up getting killed, right? So I think what ended up happening was the people in charge had to find a way to, and I think there's proof of this as well when we talk about like redlining and other things. They found ways to refine their racism to the point where, at least in some places, it wasn't out in the open like that. They found a way to refine it, and they convinced a lot of people for a great many years that the civil rights movement was entirely effective. When it wasn't, it could have been effective, but they refined it in a way that people became docile. And now when you look at movements now, then they're hardly effective unless it's a movement created by the establishment, where if something happens to a certain group of people, laws end up getting passed immediately.
Yes.
And for the people who have probably suffered the most, nothing happens.
So Peter keeps becoming unplugged. That's awesome. But I watched a documentary a couple days ago. I've been watching a lot of the Louis Theroux documentaries I've been like telling you about. So he did one on like Black nationalism, where he went up to like Harlem to like talk to Al Sharpton and
I can't stand Al Sharpton, by the way, but continue.
It was like the Nation of Islam, I believe.
Nation of Islam, yeah.
Yeah. And just to like talk to them. And for the most part, it was very funny because they were just like to his face being like, white people are the devil. And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, I'm British. And they were like, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. European people are not excluded from that.
But what was interesting, he was talking to Al Sharpton, and they were going to a rally later. And he was like, oh, can I go to that? And Al Sharpton was like, yeah. If we get arrested, you willing to get arrested too? And he was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I think that sort of docile nature comes back to something that we've talked about before, which is unless you have an experience that's like that, you won't comprehend.
Even the people who comprehend the experience sometimes these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not, because they've seen what happened to Martin Luther King. They've seen what happened to Malcolm X. They, like, there are people who genuinely do believe in it, but they don't have any teeth anymore. They're not built for a long scale conflict. Much like people aren't, much in the very same way that people aren't built for marriage anymore. They're not built for the long haul anymore. Everything is made cheaper now.
I'm curious about your thoughts on this because I don't know how this is going to sound coming out of my mouth.
Okay.
I think the conspiracy theories have actually hurt the movement in that way.
Elaborate.
Because when you're taught to, whenever you look at a story, to be like, no, like what's really happening?
Mm-hmm.
What's really happening? Not only does that cause people to look deeper, but it also causes people to reaffirm their beliefs. Mm-hmm. And I saw it a lot with like the George Floyd,
mm-hmm.
like from there to the protest to everything. Mm-hmm. That not only were there people that were listening to it, but there was also people that were like, well, no, actually, because I looked into it deeper, and then they just like spouted off random shit they found online. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think conspiracy theories are dangerous in that sense because they condition your mind to not believe what you're seeing. And when you see something that's so hard to believe, your instinct is to just not believe it.
Mm-hmm. And I won't lie to you, when the George Floyd thing happened, I was one of those people that fell down that rabbit hole. And to me, and here's the thing, like I think what happened was real. Don't get me wrong. I fell down that rabbit hole because that's my nature, right? Like you said, like people like that are conditioned to like look deeper into things, right? The fact of the matter is, right, dude is dead. Dude is dead. He had children left behind, a wife. What does a conspiracy theory matter when these people are in pain?
Yeah.
When people are in pain, when the masses got riled up the way they did, and like that caused even more pain for more people. What does a conspiracy theory even matter? Looking at that doesn't mean shit. What means shit is people who are willing to do something to, like I said, you got to hurt these people's pockets. That's what they care about. They don't care. They don't care about how Black people suffer. They don't care about how Asian people suffer. They don't care about how Muslims suffer. There's a whole. We can talk about that in another episode. But I think you know what I was about to say. No one cares. No one cares about how people are suffering at the top. They care about power and money. If you hurt them that way, you start to change things. You're more likely to die, but that comes with the territory.
Yeah, and I don't think nobody wants to give up power.
Yeah,
and that's, in my opinion, and I know this is where I'm about to be like horrifically wrong, probably. That's where my issue with the police comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime they enter a situation, they come in elevated.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to respect them, or else you're the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And my entire time growing up, I was taught that it's not like that at all. Like
mm-hmm.
you respect the people who respect you.
I don't respect police. Will I de-escalate because I don't want to fucking die? Yeah. But do I respect them? Absolutely not. None of them. They all know who the bad people are in their department. Their oath is to protect and serve, and they don't do it. I think police officers can be good people, but they're not good police officers.
Yeah, and I think that no one wants to have no one who can actually change things wants to have a conversation about it because it disrupts the status quo. Because it goes back to what we were saying about admitting we were wrong. It's like if we admit the cops were wrong now, we then have to retroactively go back and be like, well, they did this, they did that, and they and no one whose opinion matters seems to want to bring that up.
Yeah.
Unless it's to get votes.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe Biden. But anyway, your camera went off, by the way.
Why is it doing this shit? It's like fucked up right now. Give it 1 second.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. We're gonna have to cut that part out. What was I gonna say?
You're talking about Joe Biden.
No, I just threw a shot at Joe Biden. He's never going to see it, but whatever. I'm thinking.
Enter the chat.
I think we're all connected to the status quo. That's why everybody's afraid to leave the comfort of the status quo, and that's why nothing's ever going to change, because people are too afraid. People, don't you know? A lot of people, if this was like shit 1,000 years ago, a lot of people who are in charge right now would have been dragged out and killed in the middle of the street. People talk about that all those Trumpers attacking the Capitol building. Was it wild? Yeah. It wasn't that crazy. All the corrupt people are still in power. They're still in none of them got dragged out and killed. It wasn't a full-blown insurrection. It wasn't that. That was soft compared to what would have happened to these motherfuckers a long ass time ago.
And not even a what if. Like I'm not great at history, but I'm gonna say that as a disclaimer before I say anything else. But like the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
How they would walk in armed. And that freaked them out so much that they were like, well, we should probably regulate this.
Yeah.
They didn't storm a Capitol.
No.
But it scared them enough that they were like, oh, we need to regulate this. We need to figure this out and stop this. But it's because, it's not their position. So why would they care?
And also, right, there's a bunch of right-wing groups that walk around heavily armed and shit like that. They don't get stopped. Nothing happens.
Campaign ads.
Yeah. Like they don't get stopped. You want to know why? Because they haven't seen anybody that they idolize get their fucking head blown off and they die young. Black people have. They're not afraid of that shit. The Black Panther Party got dismantled for doing that shit. They've never experienced anything like that. That's why you don't see niggas doing that now. You don't see that. So I don't know, man. I'm a firm believer that like a lot of this shit that we see like on Twitter and other places, even when I hear people that I know talk about like morality and shit like that and like how things are wrong, I wonder, are you really ready to die for this shit? You talk a lot about it. Are you really ready to die for that? The answer is no. The answer is no. Shut up. Shut up. You're not really ready to die for this shit. Focus on something else. You got rid of Uncle Donnie and put Uncle Joe in office. He's Uncle Donnie light, nigga. He's Diet Uncle Donnie. Shut up. Y'all not built for what y'all talking about. That's how I feel.
I feel like
Not
the
saying,
counterpoint.
not saying that I am, but go ahead.
Yeah, because I feel like that's kind of the counterpoint. Because it's like we're speaking our opinion on this.
No, this is entirely my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, somebody might come and argue me down and make me look stupid. Fine, right?
Yeah.
But
I have no problem if they make me look stupid.
Yeah. But like, dude, if this shit had teeth, something would have changed by now. For as many people who are talking and like posting statuses on the social media, something would have changed by now. If everybody was really about that shit.
I think that everybody really wants it to change, but they want it to change from their couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't want to do any of the footwork because doing the footwork puts you in the line of fire. That's the truth. There's one truth. Doing the footwork puts you in the line of fire. We saw it in history. Every time. They got families to feed. They have mortgages to pay. They ain't trying to die out here, man. And I understand it, but shut the fuck up. Talk about what you actually care about. That's how I feel.
No, I agree. I don't have much to add to that.
Anyway, what's our next topic?
Oh, this computer keeps coming unplugged. It's an old ass computer. I'm not surprised, honestly. Did I tell you about whenever I got my second shot?
No. What happened?
Boy. First thing, when I get sick, I turn into a giant pussy immediately.
I do too. It's. I was being a pussy earlier. Like it's no shame. There's no shame.
So I got on my day off, and I was like, all right, cool. I felt fine for half the day. At night, I was like, oh god. I was like, because anytime I get sick, I feel it the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm about to wake up sick. So I was like, crap, I have work tomorrow. I was like, yeah, I got the vaccine. I can't really call off. I was like, I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I only had to work 3 hours that day. They sent me home after 40 minutes. Because I walked in and the manager looked at me and she was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm fine. I sit down and like a customer comes in. She's like, I'll get the customer. And like she comes back and she was like, we're gonna get someone else to come in. Go home and go to sleep. So then I went to sleep. I woke up like twice, but then I slept for like 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then I woke up and I was like, I'm fine. Oh my god. I was like, I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna continue not doing anything today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just relax. I feel all right. And now I'm back to my normal self.
Hey man, look, I hope the same thing happens for me. I hope I go to sleep tonight and I wake up and I'm spry, I'm ready to go to work in the morning, with a little razzle dazzle. Because I want to make some money. And hopefully this starts making money so I can quit that shit. And the minute we make like $100 off of this shit, I'm quitting.
I feel like we need more than 100 for you to
quitting. I'm quitting. Scott, as soon as I make $100 off of this shit.
There's gonna be a thing where like I'm just gonna wake up at like 4 a.m. and you're just gonna be messaging me like, we need to stream now. I have rent. Come on, get online.
We're doing 4 podcasts a day, every day, for the rest of our life.
Be like, Javae, I didn't quit. I can't do this. All right, Ronell, come on. Come on.
Oh man. Nah, man. I really enjoy doing this. It's really therapeutic, as I keep saying. Uh, I feel like I can't rant about weak ass people the way, like the way I just ran into you. I can't rant like that with other people.
Yeah.
Um, without them getting angry and upset, even though they're not going to do anything. like you give me back some real shit, so I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really enjoy this because, first of all, like, I sometimes feel bad because my natural, like, inclination is to make a joke about everything.
which is what this podcast is most of the time.
Yeah, it's
Most
like
of
us lightly treading on some serious shit.
yeah, most of this is jokes. And I hope people realize that, like, I wasn't joking about the the shit I was ranting about, but most of this is jokes.
Yeah. And
Um
I guess what I wanted to say is that, like, I like that we have a forum to just kind of be ourselves,
absolutely.
which is our way of, like, mostly making jokes in the midst of serious topics.
Yeah.
Most of which that we don't know that much about, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I don't know if there's a big audience for this, but yeah, I hope that whoever watches this
I think
gets something from it.
I think there's an audience for everything. It's just a matter of, like, how do you reach those people? And, like, where are those people? Because obviously there's an audience. There's two of us,
Yeah.
right? There's 7 billion people on the planet. Well, did COVID knock that number down? I don't know.
We
That
just
was
need to
dark.
find them. That's all it is.
Yeah, that was a dark joke. I apologize to whoever gets offended by that.
My
But
grandmother.
I have a friend that died from COVID. May he rest in peace. His name is AJ. Left
Can I ask
behind
you a fucked up question?
what?
With overpopulation being as big of an issue as it is,
Mm-hmm.
with running out of clean water, running out of space, do you think people will look back on COVID and be like, that took out some numbers?
That's a hard question. Well, that depends, right? How much has COVID put a dent in the big number?
That's a good question. I'm gonna Google that right now.
And if there is a dent, is the dent big enough to, is the dent big enough to cause, like any real difference in, like, how we consume
And even
natural
if
resources?
it did, like, is that just gonna stop people from getting out of quarantine and making a litter of children?
Right,
They've been cooped up for a year.
right. I don't know, man. There's something about this whole experience that makes me think that COVID is just the lead up to something else. I don't know if it's the
8.49 million deaths.
I don't think that's a big. I mean, rest in
It's
peace.
a big number, but yeah, I don't think
It's
it matters in the grand scheme.
Yeah. Unless the virus evolves or something, I don't see it making that big of a dent. Now, what I do think is, I do think that it's very possible that this is just a lead into something else. Whether or not it's the vaccine that's actually going to kill us in 20 years, I don't know. Because we both have it, in which case I'm fine with dying at 50 because I don't want to get too old anyway. My grandfather told me don't get old, so I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to listen to my elders.
Not become an elder.
Yeah, and not become an elder. He told me several times, don't get old. And I thought to myself, like, does that mean you want me to die young? I don't understand.
Dude, the only way I want to get old is if we live in that fucking Wall-E utopia where we just sit down all day and everything's brought to us. I'll be fine with that.
That would be hard.
Like the big screen TV, right? Yeah, sure.
Wall-E was a dope. Wall-E to me was underrated.
That's my favorite Pixar movie.
That's your favorite? I think it was
That's
underrated. I don't think that's my favorite Pixar movie.
Which one's your favorite?
Moana, my nigga.
Okay.
Moana. That nigga Maui was hard. The Rock? Are you kidding me?
He was so good in that movie.
The Rock is the richest actor in Hollywood. Huh?
I said he's so good in that movie, people forgot he can't sing.
Yeah, they love that You're Welcome song, though.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to get demonetized if we sing any more of that. But
yeah. No, but I'm...
Not like we're monetized anyway, but all right.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're not losing anything by singing that song. Dude, I love that song, and The Rock absolutely cannot sing, and I love it because nigga, it's The Rock. It's The Rock singing that song. I love The Rock ever since WWF when he was Rocky Maivia, and then he became The Rock, and then he became Dwayne Johnson.
Did you love him in The Scorpion King?
Yes. The Rock could do no wrong in 2001.
I disagree. No, I think with Wall-E, it was just a thing where, because I moved around a lot growing up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't even really, everyone is like, oh, it's my hometown. I don't really have a hometown. So I think it was just a movie of some thing like Alone in the World.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can relate to that. And they were like, this is a depressing movie. And I'm like, I feel it.
Dude,
I feel it.
I want you to share the, what was that movie with Shia LaBeouf? That you
American
told me?
Honey?
American Honey. I want you to share how that movie was based off of you.
I was so pissed off about that. So, all right. So growing up, my mom was part of like a magazine group. So they went door to door, they went in vans, they went like state to state, city to city to sell magazines. So it got to a point where I kind of got old enough to like understand it. We got out of it when I was pretty young, but like I got older and I was like, tell me about this. She did, and I started writing a movie for it.
Mm.
And I was all excited. I was like, Javae, you're gonna be in this, and you were like, I'm gonna start working out. This is gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
As soon as we finished it, a trailer for a movie called American Honey came out that had the exact same fucking premise. And not just the same premise, but it was kind of shot the way that like I was like, oh, this is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I
remember how you were talking about it too. And look, let me tell you something. It's gonna piss you off that I think this, but American Honey was fire.
It was great.
Fire,
it was
right?
Great. If it was awful, I could have just been like, oh, cool, I'll do it better. But no, I was like,
and Shia LaBeouf is one of like top 3 most underrated actors, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, I've heard that like he's like a shit person.
I don't care.
But
is he touching children?
I think he like sexually and like physically abused his ex-girlfriend.
How old was she?
Is like FKH wigs?
No, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But still, no. I know. I'm saying it doesn't matter how old she was. He shouldn't have sexually abused anybody. That was a terrible joke. But
as an actor, he is amazing.
Yeah.
So,
are you one of those people who can separate the art from the artist?
90% of the time, I can.
Yeah, for me, it depends on what it is they did. Like R. Kelly, I can't listen to any of his shit anymore.
Yeah, but if it's something to where, like a Woody Allen movie, I can't, because it's always about Woody Allen getting together with like a chick who's like 18.
Right.
But like Kevin Spacey, I can't. Because like in his movies, he's either like Baby Driver, he's like, that's my baby. I knew this kid ever since he was 12 years old. Or American Beauty, where he's legit just like, is that an underage person? Come on, like, so I can't with him.
Mm.
But so it's a case by case basis. But I never forget it, if that makes sense. Like, if I watch a Shia LaBeouf movie, I'll be like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about him as a person, but
Mm-hmm.
him as a character in this movie, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, American Honey was good. I want to watch that movie where he was a fucking like Mexican.
The tax collector.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I want to watch that. I haven't watched that yet.
I think it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Shit, I don't have Hulu. I wonder who I can bug to get their shit from him. Anyway, that's besides the point. A very underrated actor. Uh, do we have anything else?
I have one last thing I want to say.
Let's go.
This is something I've felt for 2 years now, and one day it's going to come true.
Mm-hmm.
The television bubble always expands and contracts.
Okay.
There was TV shows and packages and cable, and it was so spread out
Mm-hmm.
that eventually they were like, here's Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something you can watch a lot of the shit here. You just pay the one fee, and people were like, cool, yeah, we'll get it. And then people saw how successful that was. So they were like, well, here's ours. Here's our, and it just expanded, all the way to like Paramount Plus. We don't need Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery Plus, who?
Yeah.
Name one person who's like, it's $10.99 a month. That's not bad. No one.
Yeah. And mind you, I love the Discovery Channel, but I ain't paying for
but
that.
no. So it's expanding and it's expanding. And there's going to come a point where it all contracts down into one again.
Who's the winner?
I honestly, because they all have their originals, I don't think it's going to be anything that exists right now. It's going to be one that says, look, for an extra fee, we're going to consolidate.
Okay. I think it's going to be Disney. Disney is not slowing down. Disney's not slowing down.
They're never going to slow down.
King Mickey is taking over, nigga. Are you ready? It's Kingdom Hearts, nigga. Huh? You ready to pick up the Keyblade, my G?
I don't like Kingdom Hearts.
That's a topic for another episode.
No, like
that's a topic for another episode.
It's just repetitive. You go and you do it, and then you have to go back and you have to do it again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel you. And also like the story just got too wild for me. It got too wild for me to the point where I didn't even want to keep up with it anymore. I was over it. I didn't get Kingdom Hearts 3.
One thing that I've never played, and I can guarantee I never will, is Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy is fire.
And like I know it is, but I'm already like 80 games behind.
Dude, they're not, but like they're all different stories.
Oh, it's like anthology type.
Yeah. You could literally pick up Final Fantasy 7 and then finish that and then play Final Fantasy 8, and then they don't even take place in the same world. These are literally just all different stories. You just pick which one you like and play it.
So this is American Horror Story of video games.
Yes. Except different, like they're like entirely new cast of characters, all of that. Like,
okay.
Final Fantasy is dope. You just pick your flavor with Final Fantasy, and you just go with it. Final Fantasy 10 is the one I would recommend for you.
Okay, why 10?
10 has a great many elements that I feel like you would enjoy. The storyline, and this could be said about a lot of Final Fantasies, but the storyline is kind of weird from beginning to end. Yeah. From beginning to end, you're left with a lot of questions, and the answers at the end break your fucking heart.
Okay.
The answers at the end break your heart. Final Fantasy X-2 was not my cup of tea. They did that's one of the ones that actually had a sequel. So it was Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. I'm not gonna say X-2 is trash, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
That just sounds like Final Fantasy 12.
No, it's Final Fantasy X-2.
All right.
Yeah. I would say if you ever find the time, right, pick up Final Fantasy X. I think you would like that one.
All right. I'll be sure to do that. All right. He's tired. I'm tired. So
I've been tired all day, man.
we'll sign off. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, I think this was a great podcast. This episode, different. It was different from the other ones.
Oh yeah. All right. Hope to see you next time.